Everyone, it's Spurs Radio 96 here, and welcome to the 20th episode of the FIFA 18 Zenit St. Petersburg career mode. We begin today's episode with the last Russian Premier League match of the season here at the Krasnoyarsky Stadium, where we will be hosting bottom club SKA Kraborosyk. If you haven't checked out the last episode, I strongly suggest you do so, in which we managed to wrap up the Russian Premier League title as well as winning the Russian Cup final. Both of those matches came up against Rubin Kazan. And also he managed to beat Real Madrid here at the Krasnoyarsky Stadium for the first time, which means we progressed to the Europa League final, which will be on after this match. We come onto the Russian Premier League table then. Of course, if we win, that will be our 20th win of the season, and we'll have 68 points. There's a good battle developing for second and fourth spot. Second place is between Lokomotiv Moscow and FC Krasnodar, who are tied on 57 points. And fourth place, CSKA Moscow and the reigning champions Spartak Moscow, who's in fifth place, also fighting for Europa League spots. So yeah, interesting to see who comes out on top in both of those two fights for second and fourth place. Of course, as this is a nothing match, I decided to give the secondary team a chance, because no point putting on the first team, because we don't want their stamina and energy levels to be all low when it comes to the Europa League final. So yeah, this is also another opportunity. Another reason for them to be playing this match is because, of course, the transfer window is looming for the second season, and some may go, but some may stay. It may depend, because they've been alright, the secondary team, particularly at home. They managed to win the majority of their home games, but some of them in quite unconvincing fashion, and some by a closer scoreline than I certainly would have wanted. On to the 10th minute now, and the SKA Kraborosyk off to a fairly confident start. Here's Navalowski's crossing it to Karasev, and that was a good opportunity for SKA Kraborosyk. It's a good cross from I forget his name, Navalowski, and Karasev couldn't quite get the ball down and blazes it over. Well, not blazes it, but just gets it over the bar. But that was a good effort from SKA Kraborosyk. On to the 12th minute. Ahmad Hassan has left a through ball. Wonderful pass to Panyakov, and he's taken the chance. And Zenit St. Petersburg take the lead. Just past 13 and a half minutes played. And Panyakov, at long last, has scored his first Russian Premier League goal of the season. He's been pretty much the assist man to Ahmed Hassan, who's been scoring quite a few goals in this season, who we brought in from FC Braga. But Panyakov this time is the scorer, as Ahmed Hassan turns the provider of the goal. And Panyakov scores his first Russian Premier League goal of the season, just in time as well, as this is the last game of the season, so no time at all. And Panyakov's first goal of the season, that will give him some confidence. And it's Zenit St. Petersburg who are leading here. No surprise really, as SKA Kraborosyk are bottom. We lead 1-0 just past 13 minutes played. Or 14 minutes, on to the 25th minute now, growing in confidence. SKA Kraborosyk beginning to panic. Panyakov gets the ball, twists and turns, passes to Hassan. What a pass from Hassan towards Polos, and what a finish from Polos as well. And Zenit St. Petersburg extend the lead. 2-0 now, just past going over 27 minutes played. Wonderful build-up play from Panyakov and Hassan. And Polos manages to finish it with a thunderbolt. And SKA Kraborosyk are falling apart. I mean, of course, the last time we faced SKA Kraborosyk was the first game of the season, a long time ago, and we managed to beat them 5-1 away from home. Maybe we could replicate something similar here today. Great, lovely little pass from a bit of skill from Hassan to find Polos in space without even looking at him, and Polos finishes it on his right foot, I believe. And Dmitry Polos has scored his fourth Russian Premier League goal of the season, and Zenit St. Petersburg extend their lead. It is 2-0 already, just past 27 minutes against SKA Kraborosyk. And there goes the half-time whistle. Very good first half performance for Zenit St. Petersburg, the secondary team. They've not had, of course, in the past some convincing home performances, but they have, of course, managed to win those games regardless of the performance. But this is a performance that the result is certainly merited at this stage. It is 2-0 against SKA Kraborosyk at half time, and the fans hopefully are in a very good mood, or whatever. As you can see by around the ground, so Lokomotiv Moscow are leading. CSKA Moscow are drawing. FC Krasnodar, they're drawing as well. Spartak Moscow are losing against Dynamo Moscow, so Lokomotiv Moscow will finish in second place. and CSKA Moscow will finish in 4th place as it stands. On to the second half highlights, the 63rd minute, and we're just building on confidence all the time. Passing lanes happening everywhere. Hassan has left it to Panyakov, and Krane-Vitter. No, it was Krane-Vitter with a chance. And now it's a good save from Dobrenya. And we're just creating chances almost at will now all of a sudden. And it was a good strike from Krane-Vitter. And the keeper makes a good save. It's a corner for Zenit St. Petersburg now. Ekrin takes the corner. Panyakov with a chance. Hassan, hits Dobrevka. Hits the keeper and goes out of play. A good save there from the keeper. On to the 71st minute now. We just keep on going forward. Confidence is always building. And what a pass from Polos. And Panyakov with a brilliant finish. And it is now 3-0 to Zenit St. Petersburg. And that is the 3 points wrapped up for this game. And we're going to finish with 68 points on our 20th Premier League win of the season out of 30 games. Great bit of play from Polos to cut back on the defender that was chasing him. A wonderful cross, and Panyakov managed to just get on the end of it and slides and manages to slide the ball into the back of the net. Goes under the keeper as he was diving down, and now Panyakov has scored again. He's now got 2 Russian Premier League goals. So he's banging form now. All of a sudden, it's now 3-0 to Zenit St. Petersburg at that stage, and there goes the full-time whistle. And Zenit St. Petersburg end the Russian Premier League in style. 3 points, 3 goals, 3 points against SKA Kraborosyk, 3 goals and a clean sheet as well. We were hardly tested other than the start of the first half. Andrei Panyakov at long last gets his first goals of the Russian Premier League and of the entire season. Very well merited. He deserves it after a good overall team performance today, and it has finished 3-0 to Zenit St. Petersburg against SKA Kraborosyk. And looking at the grounds, Lokomotiv Moscow won 3-0 against Arsenal Tuna. CSKA Moscow did win 2-1 against Anzi Makanella. Spartak Moscow drew against Dynamo Moscow 1-1. I believe FC Krasnodar also drew, so I can't quite, my maths is a bit off at the moment, but we'll see what the table will look like at the end of this huge game. This is it, the Europa League final against Arsenal. And this is a huge tie. This is Zenit St. Petersburg's first European final since 2008. And there are ironically a lot of similarities to this final compared to real life, of course. We were up against Zenit St. Petersburg, were up against Rangers in real life in 2008. And they also played it in the Etihad Stadium of home of Manchester City. Of course, we're playing against Arsenal, which is kind of a British, in the British parameters, it is a British team. And we're also playing at the London Stadium, home of West Ham United. You can saw there 2 goal scorers in the Europa League, Alexandra Kokorin of us, and of course Arsenal's Alex Iwobi. They are, I believe, the top 2 scorers in the Europa League, so it's going to be interesting to see what this game will be like. Of course, a very big final for both clubs. Can Arsene Wenger win his first European final with Arsenal in his last game for the club? That is the lineup you can see there for Zenit St. Petersburg. The familiar faces all return. This is their biggest game of their lives. Can Zenit St. Petersburg end a 10-year drought and win the Europa League final? For Arsene Wenger's men and the Arsenal, of course, I'm sure the Arsenal fans have come to watch in their thousands. There is the lineup. It is a familiar story. Henrik Mkhitaryan, surprisingly, is on the bench, but Aubameyang, Lacazette is up front. Iwobi, of course, on the left. Ozil is on the right. The midfield consists of Elneny, Ramsey and Xhaka, and the defence of Mustafi, Koscielny and Monreal, and Petr Cech, of course, in goal, as he's very experienced in these European finals, winning the Europa League and the Champions League final with Chelsea. On to the 6th minute now, and we're starting in a positive way. Witzel's got the ball in the box, takes a strike. Good save from Cech. Good save from Petr Cech. He may be old, but he can still deliver some moments of brilliance in the goalkeeping perspective. And just parries it away, pushes it away up in the air from a good start from Witzel, but good start from Zenit St. Petersburg. Aubameyang, and he's given the ball away. Arsenal's Aubameyang is giving it away to Witzel. Druzy leaves it to Cochran, leaves it to Druzy, and Druzy's going to take a strike, and Cech can't keep it out. Petr Cech can't keep it out, and Sebastian Druzy has scored the first goal of the Europa League final. Zenit St. Petersburg lead Arsenal 1-0. And it's come from an Arsenal mistake. Aubameyang gave the ball away, and we pounced straight away. Druzy managed to get enough pace on the Arsenal defence, took the strike on his left foot, and Petersburg made contact, but it couldn't keep it out. And Zenit St. Petersburg lead in the Europa League final. And, of course, the majority of the stadium is full of Zenit St. Petersburg fans, to be going crazy, I'm sure. Sebastian Druzy's 6th goal of the Europa League, and his most important of the season yet. Zenit St. Petersburg lead Arsenal 1-0. We're growing on confidence. Druzy in towards Rigoni, and contact there with Monreal, I believe. And Petersburg, it is a corner to Zenit St. Petersburg, but Arsenal are all over the place. They have simply not turned up for the first 20 minutes. They are all over the show. Corner for Zenit St. Petersburg now. Rigoni's got a chance here. Witsel and Rigoni, and it's a penalty. Penalty to Zenit St. Petersburg. Granit Xhaka is the man responsible, and it is a handball, I believe, as there is no replay being shown as to what the incident may be. It's surely handball, and what a mistake. You can't give handball such penalties away, especially in the European final. I thought, I'm sure Arsene Wenger would have told him that to just not do anything silly, but this time we have a chance to score from the spot to extend our lead. Witsel, the captain, takes a strike. Ganchek goes to the left, and Zenit St. Petersburg extend the lead, and they are 2-0 up against Arsenal already, just past 20 minutes. The dream start to Zenit St. Petersburg's quest to become Europa League champions, and Arsenal their chances of winning a first European title under Arsene Wenger is crumbling already. Fantastic penalty from Alex Witsel, goes to the right. Petersburg goes to the left. Great composure, especially with the pressure of those Arsenal fans behind the goal, trying to distract Alex Witsel. But we extend our lead, and it's 2-0 to Zenit St. Petersburg already. Unbelievable. Alex Witsel's 5th goal in the Europa League, and it's now 2-0 to Zenit St. Petersburg against Arsenal. Well, what a turn-up this is. Didn't expect Arsenal to be this bad, really. But speaking of how bad, Arsenal all of a sudden are on the good side of things, because Aubameyang's on the attack, and Areola makes a very good save from Patrick-Emerick Aubameyang. His first save of the final, so Areola hasn't had much to do, produces a good save. And, if he can get a clean sheet in his first European final in his career, that will be some achievement. But there goes the half-time whistle. What a shock on the cards. Arsenal have not turned up, really. They have been very, very poor, which is a huge surprise to me at the time when I was playing it. We managed to easily be the better team. More chances, huge load of spaces that Arsenal's defence are creating. But at half-time we lead quite easily. It's 2-0 against Arsenal for Zenit St. Petersburg. And on to the 49th minute, and Mesut Ozil gave the ball away from an Arsenal corner, and Shatov is charging down the left-hand side. Coquelin is up there. Here he is. Shatov delivers the ball to Coquelin. Coquelin the chance. Good save from Cech. And Zenit St. Petersburg almost creating chances as well from Arsenal mistakes, giving the ball away. Aubameyang gave the ball away to Alex Witsel, which led to the first goal of the final, and then Mesut Ozil almost was the creator of the second goal for Zenit St. Petersburg, and this time Koscielny's made a mistake, and Coquelin has taken it on the 69th minute. It's 3-0 to Zenit St. Petersburg, and could that be the goal that wraps up the final for Zenit St. Petersburg? Coquelin has scored in the final. The man, the best striker in Europe by far, but what a massive error from Koscielny with the missed time tackle. And Coquelin manages to punish Arsenal once again. Zenit St. Petersburg punish Arsenal. Coquelin is on the score sheet at last, and it is now 3-0 to Zenit St. Petersburg. And Arsene Wenger's last game in charge of Arsenal is going to end in the worst way possible. Coquelin's 13th goal of the Europa League, the top scorer in the Europa League. It is Zenit St. Petersburg 3, Arsenal 0, and we've got another 20 minutes to go. And this time, Arsenal putting on the pressure, but they've given the ball away again. Kuzev leads it to Druzy, and Druzy's got it onto Coquelin, and the Arsenal defence can't keep up with Coquelin. Coquelin's going to take the strike. It's 4-0 in the Europa League final against Arsenal, and Zenit St. Petersburg are thrashing Arsenal, and this is something completely unexpected. Arsenal are falling apart defensively. They have been awful. They have been giving the ball away and have nowhere near been at the level that I would expect Arsenal to be, especially in the European final. And Zenit St. Petersburg are punishing Arsenal for every mistake they make. And they gave the ball away, I think, in their own half as well. from a corner kick, very similar to the second goal. To the third goal, and Zenit St. Petersburg pounced. Kuzev passed it to Druzy, and Druzy managed to do a wonderfully timed or precise pass to Kokorin, and he took his chance, and Kokorin scores again, his 14th goal in the Europa League final now, and it is a crushing result here in the final. It is Zenit St. Petersburg 4, Arsenal 0. And there goes the final whistle, and Zenit St. Petersburg have completed the treble. The treble, that's right, the Russian Premier League title, the Russian Cup, and the Europa League final. And what a European final it was for Zenit St. Petersburg. A dominant display against Arsenal, who did not turn up at all. What a disappointment for Arsenal. I thought it was going to be a closer game, a closer contest, but it wasn't proven to be. Arsenal just kept making mistakes, and we punished them for their mistakes, giving the ball away, some of them in their own half as well, from corner kick opportunities. And and the defence as well has been absolute. They were awful. I mean, in terms of pace, they couldn't keep up, particularly on the counter attacks. And and defensively they were all over the show. Their formation sometimes I struggled to understand what formation they were seemed to be in at times. But there is the players getting a familiar feeling now on the podium and about to lift the Europa League trophy. European champions for Zenit St. Petersburg in the Europa League. Their first European title for 10 years. And would you believe it? It's come on British soil against a British club. Just like in 2008, albeit Rangers are a Scottish club, but it's in the British parameters. And Zenit St. Petersburg are back in the big time. We've won the treble. I think that could be the first time ever that Zenit St. Petersburg have ever achieved that for treble. And maybe become the first Russian club maybe to win the treble, I believe, unless they won the league and cup in 2008. I might be wrong, but I might be right as well. So but look at that, celebrations with the fans. The fireworks go off. Well, Arsenal thought they have an advantage on home territory in a stadium not far from the Emirates Stadium, but wasn't proven to be. They didn't turn up. They were thrashed by my side. And maybe is this the things to come for Season 2, if there will be a Season 2, of course. But European champions, fantastic. We get a bucket load of cash. Well, not much really, I should say, £6.5 million, but could be useful for the future. On to the Russian Premier League table for the final time of the season. We are first. We'll look at that. 20 wins, 8 draws, 2 defeats. Most amount of wins and the least amount of defeats in the table. We have scored 57 goals. That's the best offensive record in the Russian Premier League, and have conceded 15 goals, which is the best offensive record in the league, 68 points. We finish a full 8 points ahead of Lokomotiv Moscow, who do finish in second place with 60 points. FC Krasnodar fallen away really towards the end. They were pretty much our title challengers for the majority of the season. Every time I kept looking at the table at the end of each episode, but they've fallen away in the end, and they finished third with 57 points, but get a Champions League playoff spot. CSKA Moscow do manage to finish in fourth place with 56 points in the end, some 6 points clear. 5 points clear, 4 or 5 points clear of the reigning champion Spartak Moscow. Have had a miserable season, finishing in 5th with 52 points. Dynamo Moscow, what a good season they've had on their return to the Premier League. They finished in 6th place with 44 points, 3 points ahead of the Russian Cup runners-up Rubin Kazan, who finished 7th with 41 points. FC UFA 8th with 39 points, a point or two ahead of FC Ural, who are 9th with 37 points. Anti Macanella completes the top 10 with 36 points. FC Tosno is 11th with 32 points, a point ahead of FC Rostov, who is 12th with 31 points. They'll be disappointed, I'm sure. Akhmat Grozny are 13th with 29 points, a point ahead of Arsenal Tula, who finished in 14th with 28 points. Amkar Perm is 15th with 25 points, also with the leakiest defence in the league as well. And SKA Kraborosyk are last with the least amount of wins, the worst goal scoring record, and bottom with 17 points. On to the objectives, and as you can see, we've pretty much nearly completed the youth objectives. We signed 3 out of the 4 players, in which they wanted us to sign from the youth academy, which is a goalkeeper, defender, midfield, and a forward. The brand exposure, we managed to obviously complete which is one of them, I should say, which is gained £22 million earnings from shirt sales within a season. The financial objectives, obviously it's going a bit slowly. We've only improved by 3% over the season, which is quite surprising, because after winning the Russian League, Cup and the Europa League, you think that would go up, but it clearly hasn't. And also we managed to, of course, win the Russian Premier League, the Russian Cup, and go one step better and not win not get to the semi-finals of the Europa League, but winning the Europa League final as well. So yeah, we'll see you for the next episode, which is a roundup of the players and the season. Take care.